I would rather share with you some of my little experience of why I had chosen to write in Odia. I write in my mother tongue, that is Odia. I believe that a cultural character of a person is shaped in a very tender age. As for me, the innumerable folklores, folk tales, legends, idioms, phrases, nuances of the language got ingrained in me at a very young age. My childhood was spent in suburban Cuttack, and our village, which is at a very remote place in the coastal Odisha, was nearby. So occasional visits to that had exposed me to the typical colloquial talking of the villagers among each other, and that has impressed me. Then I got exposed to reading a lot of Odia literature at a very young age, maybe at 11, 12 or 13, without understanding, of course, a bit of it. And a lot of translation of world literature into Odia, because we had a library at home. So when later I had this urge to write or to be creative, I looked back at the past reservoir and I was awe-stricken. The language has spread before me with such vastness and such richness and such treasures that I could just do nothing but immerse in it. I understood that I can fly, I can swim, I can stretch my imagination to any extent with this language. They started a personal relationship or a kind of bonding, and I understood that I can trust my emotions, my thought process, my imagination with this language. And there started the journey. It's not that I have not tried to write in English for some time. When I started writing poems few years back, few poems I've written also, apart from writing a little bit of fiction. I started writing in English, few poems I've written, and then on my own I switched off to writing in Odia. I would just share with you a disastrous experience of mine in that. This is a poem I have written, Bohu, daughter-in-law. This is about a very common theme that is prevalent in our country. There's murdering, a killing of the daughters-in-law by the in-laws' families. A few lines of this poem, Bohu, run like this. Kichi boli kichi kotha nai, konse pokhalo gili, kobato dela je, dipoharu sanjo hela. Kichi boli kichi kotha nai, konse pokhalo gili, kobato dela je, dipoharu sanjo hela. Dekh dekh, pindha sadi re, ponkharu झुलुछि, दंडा मुंड बरगछ रज दोली पड़ी. पिंधा शाढ़ी रे पंखारु झुलुची दंडामुंड बरगछ रज दोली परी. उद्बार्ज्य लंगड़ा एड़े अलाजुकी 22 वर्षर देह पिचिकी पड़ुची. So at leisure, I just thought that I'll render this poem into Hindi or English, mostly in English. I stumbled upon the words Kamse Pakhala Giri. Pakhala is a very common meal of the Odias, but Kamse Pakhala Giri, when a mother-in-law says this to a daughter-in-law, is totally a different meaning altogether. And then this Udbarjya. Udbarjya has not been used here in the real meaning of the term, and it's a very colloquial use of the villagers when they talk about Udbarjya Langola kind of thing. And what the phrase which has really made me had put me offhand is Raja Doli. Raja is a very important festival of Odisha, and Doli is the swing. The literal meaning should have been festival swing, but not. No, this is a symbol being used here, and Raja Doli is the symbol here of a woman, a young woman a young girl who is going to be a woman, her hopes, her aspirations, her desires. It signifies fecundity, nubility, and so much more. So I just gave up the idea. I know that I cannot translate this neither to English nor to any Indian languages, so I'm happy with whatever I'm writing in my own language. In the past 2-3 decades, writing in English has risen. It's for the better, in a very much better way. I have read some of the very young writers also, even starting from Arundhati Ray. I am sure they are not writing in English only to be known in a very short time and known over the world, but they write in English because they know that they can trust their emotion and their imagination to this, and there is a personal trust in the language. Earlier also during British rule, many of our stalwarts were very much educated well in English. They have written very good pieces of English, but their purpose was different, of course. They loved their mother tongues and they were very much grounded. They wanted the public of the country and the English to understand what they want to say. As far as consequences of writing, like being understood in other language, well, I believe that a writer in an Indian language has his moments of ecstasy and is aware of the limitations also. The ecstasy because of the creative part of it, while the limitations are rather practical. As far as Odia language is concerned, a writer in Odia feels very happy when he is rejoiced. I have very important writers sitting before me, Mr. Manoj Das, Chandrasekhar Athaji, and Mr. JP Das, and I can't see many others here. They are rejoiced and they are felicitated, that's fine, but when we go out, when we reach the other part of the geographical boundary, we feel inhibited because we always want that the other person should read us or should know us by our reading, by our work. And the same feeling we have also, that we should know what a writer in Malayalam has written, for that matter what Sachidanandan writes in Malayalam. So there comes the role of translation, that to bridge the gap. And there are few languages also which are very, very rich in their readership, like Malayalam, Bengali and Hindi, which probably has not been the fate of languages like Odia, maybe Marathi and Punjabi also. So in a country of like India, bilingualism is a very important issue. I'm sure Marquez, before writing in Spanish, or Orhan Pamuk for that matter in Turkish, or Moyan in Chinese, they would have never even blinked once to write in their language. But in a country like India, we probably need bilingualism in the sense that a writer in mother tongue needs to be known outside, maybe through translation. I regard writing in Odia is my forte, while translation or bilingualism is to bridge the gap and to reach out others.